This is fine. This is totally fine. I can do this. I can handle this. It's fine. It's fine. Stop panicking. Stop panicking right now. It's fine. It's fine. Howdy folks, welcome back to Don't Fret, and I hope you're ready for a little bit of a rant. I'm not necessarily suggesting that a rant is a good idea when it's met with anger. But a passionate rant, I am down for. As long as it doesn't come from anger. And I'll be honest, this one's a little bit of a mix, because naturally when I do this channel and the work that I want to do within the men's health space and the upcoming virtual summit, I speak to a lot of kind of coaches, I read a lot of papers, psychology articles, blogs, and I also delve into some of the doldrums of YouTube. And I came across a men's coach today, and I'm not really interested going into the blame game, but I do want to talk about some of the content that came up, because sometimes I feel like it's as much as debunking or suggesting alternative thought process when you see content which is inherently toxic. And that's what I came across today. So like I said, there's not going to be any blame in this video, so I'm not going to share the YouTube channel that this came from, but suffice to say, it's a so-called masculinity coach giving their tips to ensure you can have tap into your masculinity and have a powerful relationship. And there were a number of tips involved. And tip number 2 was associated with how to actually attract a woman into your life. So first of all, as somebody who's kind of actually found a lot of power in connecting with people regardless of their background, I find that a lot of kind of men's coaches just focus on the very, very stereotypical male to female relationships, and that every man must seemingly want to attract a woman. That every man is hyper masculine, that wants a hyper feminine female to complete their life, completely forgetting that gender fluidity is a thing, trans folk are a thing, lesbians are a thing, gay people are a thing, and that hyper masculine to feminine match isn't necessarily for everybody. But that is a topic I'm going to be covering in another video, and right now I just want to hone in on this topic. And I'm going to start with a quote. And this came with tip number 2 with regards to activity, specifically men attracting women through the bar, pub, club, alcohol-induced scene. And here's the quote. If you're a man and you're engaging in low-level behavior, you're going to attract low-level women. You're going to attract low-quality women. The reason for that is you must finally face the fact and accept that you're a low-quality man. There's no such thing as low-level or low-quality anybody. At all. There is such thing as low-quality behavior, so the actual advice of steering away from pubs, clubs, and alcohol in order to attract a life partner, I think that's reasonable advice. But to suggest that the people that do partake in that are low-quality individuals or low-level individuals is purely judgmental. And when you enter into a judgmental persona of other people, there is pain there. And here's how that happens. So I've been in the personal development world for quite some time now, and I've had to work through a lot of stuff. And this is one area that, to be honest with you, I've had a lot of pain in, and I've had to work through. And I've utilized content from people like Kyle Cease, from Brene Brown. And where it came to a pinnacle for me is actually at an event called Date with Destiny, which is a Tony Robbins led event. And it's really, really, it's soul changing. It's easily the best event I've ever been to, the most enriching event I've ever been to. And it's 4,000 or 5,000 people in one location for like 6 days of absolutely insane behavior. And you go into that ready. You go into that ready for any kind of breakthroughs or any challenges. So you're ready to overcome your trauma simply by being there. And I remember first walking into the environment and seeing the sea of thousands of people, plenty of men in there, plenty of women in there. But the first thing I did was I looked at all of the men in that room like a scan to kind of work out where I landed in the pecking order of attractiveness, right? So in this sea of men, where do I rank? Where can I pick my battles? Who am I more attractive than, that I can, seemingly look better than? Who am I less attractive than? Who's my competition? And that was the key thing. Instantly, I was comparing myself to every other man in that room so that every other man in that room became my enemy. So why does that connect to what this guy was saying? Well, ultimately, it comes down to this idea of comparison and hierarchy. Exactly how I went into that room, I set up in my own mind. It was not based on reality either. It was in my own mind. I set up this hierarchy of attractiveness to figure out where I stood. And ultimately, that's exactly what's happening when we're talking about low quality, low level individuals, men and women. Because what we're doing here is we're not talking about low level behavior. Behavior is a different story. We're actually creating an identity. So if I have a few drinks on a Friday night, I might accept that I might be kind of conducting low level behavior. I suppose drinking to excess isn't necessarily considered a heightened awakening idea. I do it. That's totally fine. And I recognize that it's not my best self, and I recognize that it is slightly low-level behavior. But I do not identify as a low-level individual, and I would never judge others, no matter how much they do it, to be a low-level individual themselves. Because by doing that, first of all, I'm setting up a hierarchy of low-level, medium-level, and high-level individuals. And whenever I do that, I put myself somewhere in that list. And I'm comparing myself to every other individual. And I'm doing that in my own mind with no basis on reality. So I've set up this insane hierarchy where I will judge other people and create an identifier on that individual, giving them absolutely no room to grow, right? I've just identified you as a low-level individual. That means you've got nowhere to go. You will never become a medium-level individual because I've created that identity on you that you're a low-level individual. Not that you're just conducting low-level behavior. You are a low-level individual. And that's nonsense. There is no such thing as a low-level, medium-level, or high-level individual. There is just behavior. Everybody is equal in terms of their soul and energy levels. I truly, truly believe that. And when you compare yourself or create a hierarchy on others, then you are judging them. And subsequently, you're judging yourself. And there's pain in judgment. So look, ultimately, the message that I want to convey here is just be careful who you listen to. Be careful who your influencers are. If you don't subscribe to my belief systems, then that is 100% okay. But here's my advice and guidance, whether you believe what I believe or not, is understand what you want out of life. Find the influencers that replicate that and model their belief systems, model their behavior. Ultimately, the way that I see it is this guy has huge muscles. He has a submissive partner. He has fast cars. And if you want the things, he might be a good person to model. That's totally fine. I would also suggest that watching the entire video, I didn't see him smile once. Right? He was conducting very judgmental behavior and he didn't smile. He actually almost seemed angry about it. I know I'm conveying a little bit of that myself right here. I'm well aware of what's happening internally here. Like I said, there's a little bit of anger in this rant. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But if you want to be happy, if happiness is the thing that you want to go for, then find the happiest person online that you can and model their behavior. I believe that happiness comes from within, and I don't believe it could be satiated from external stimulus or stimuli in any way, shape, or form. And if that's something that resonates with you, then I invite you to like, subscribe to the channel, comment below, stick around, and we'll work on it together. And of course, I'll see you in the next video.